Jorgrim arrived in Osbrook looking for work. The South offered him a contract. He answered the only way he knew how, with steel. A second axe found its place at his side. Old habits proved easier to carry than old memories. The bandit leader fell. The job was done. Coin changed hands. Another contract followed, and once again, the road continued. The road stretched on, long enough for the day to fade. Not long enough for anything else to change. As evening settled, Jorgrim stopped at the roadside tower. Soldiers, guards, men who carried steel for reasons different from his own. No one asked questions. No one seemed interested in the answers. That suited him. He used the tower's fire to prepare a simple meal, ate in silence, said little. Later, one of the guards allowed him to use an empty tent outside the walls. Jorgrim accepted. He lay down before sunset. Sleep came. It never stayed long. Long before dawn, he was awake again. The road still waited. So did the contract. The roads of Outdoor had their own rules. A traveler who stayed alert might reach his destination. One who didn't often became someone else's prophet. Ambushes, roadside attacks, men waiting in the dark for an opportunity. None of it surprised Jorgrim. The methods were familiar, only the roles had changed. Years ago, he had ridden with the men hiding beyond the firelight. Now, he was the one being watched. The road didn't care which side of the ambush you stood on. It demanded the same thing from everyone. Stay alive. The old grave stood in silence. Weathered stones, forgotten names, a crypt hidden beneath the earth. It wasn't the sort of place Jorgrim was used to. Men built graves. Men buried their dead. In Fjall, the earth usually kept what it was given. Apparently, things worked differently in the south. The first fight answered the only question that mattered. The dead could bleed the same as anyone else, or close enough. His axes worked. That was enough. Odar wanted something destroyed. Manuscripts, relics, whatever they were. Jorgrim didn't understand why anyone would keep such things in a crypt. He didn't need to. A contract was a contract. Looking back, it seemed the manuscripts had been important. Destroying them had drawn the attention of the strongest creature in the crypt. Whether it had been protecting them or something worse, Jorgrim couldn't say. Those questions were for scholars. What mattered was that it had stood in his way. Now it was dead. Its finger joined the trophies already resting in his pack. Proof paid better than stories. One manuscript still remained. The contract wasn't finished yet. The contract was finished. The manuscripts were destroyed. The dead would trouble the crypt no longer. All that remained was the journey back. The roadside tower offered better rewards for dealing with threats beyond Osbrook. Jorgrim intended to collect every coin he had earned. These days, work was simple. Finish the contract, take the reward, prepare for the next one. The fewer questions involved, the better.
The road back to Osbrook passed without incident. For once, the journey was quieter than the contract. Back in town, there was work to be done before another job could begin. Axes needed maintenance. Leather needed repairs. Supplies needed replacing. None of it was exciting. None of it was optional. Experience had taught Jorgrim that victories were often decided long before the fighting started. A neglected edge, a torn strap, an empty pack. Small mistakes had a habit of becoming fatal ones. By the time everything was ready, Osbrook already felt smaller than before. Another contract waited. This time, the notice spoke of occultists and bloodsuckers. Jorgrim knew little about either, but he knew enough about work. He took the directions and started walking. The Drunken Woodsman Inn was quieter than Osbrook. For a moment, Jorgrim stayed out of sight, listening. Rumors travel faster than coin in places like this. A nearby road, carriages being hit, merchants avoiding the route, bandits growing bolder. It wasn't part of his contract, but problems on the road rarely stayed separate for long. A blocked route meant fewer jobs. Fewer jobs meant less coin. And less coin meant wasted time. Jorgrim finished his rest. He checked his gear. Then he changed direction. Just because it was there. The carriage was already broken when Jorgrim arrived. Wood splintered, cargo scattered, silence broken only by the wind. The bandits were still there, not celebrating, not leaving, just sorting through what remained before moving on to the next target. They didn't notice him at first. That was their mistake. Jorgrim didn't ask questions. He didn't offer warnings. Steel answered faster than words ever could. One fell before he understood what was happening. Another tried to run. He didn't make it far. The rest ended quickly. Only one escaped into the road, barely standing. Not dangerous anymore, just alive enough to remember. Jorgrim watched him disappear. Then he turned away. The road was clear again. That was enough. The road was short. The contract stood before him. Bloodsuckers. That was all the notice said. No tribe, no banner, no enemy he recognized. Only a name. Jorgrim stepped inside. Soon enough, the name would have a face. Whatever these creatures were, they still bled, and his axes still worked. For now, that was enough. The contract was simple. Find the leader. Kill the leader. Jorgrim appreciated that. Leaders were familiar. Every group had one, and removing them was often the fastest way to finish a job. Less searching, less guessing, less thinking, just work. The room looked different from the rest. Shelves, books, dust. Whatever purpose this place once served had long been forgotten. Jorgrim glanced around, found nothing that looked useful, then moved on. The leader wasn't hiding in a book. After looting, the next room feels different. Not dangerous in an obvious way, just wrong. Fights used to come in patterns. This one doesn't. Too much space, too little noise. Jorgrim has seen this before, when the easy blood is over, and something heavier is waiting deeper in. He tightens his grip on the axes. Not caution, recognition. He moves forward. The boss is down. His minions, too. Jorgrim cuts the finger. Routine. The job pays for results, not effort. Jorgrim takes what matters from the boss room first. Better loot than the rest. Expected. Then he heads for the exit. They are still there. Bloodsuckers in the dark rooms he passed before. Not a hunt, not a choice, just space he never cleared on the way in. Axes come out again. Same rhythm, same silence. In the end, quite a few of those creatures were still left alive. Fortunately, the fights came with loot, enough to make the effort worthwhile.
Once everything was finished, Jorgrim made his way back to the inn where he had stayed before setting out. He needed rest, to recover the belongings he had left behind, and to collect his reward. One more job. Nothing had changed. The routine continued. With more gold in his pouch and another contract completed, Jorgrim headed back to Osbrook, the place where jobs began, and for now, where they always seemed to end.